Well, it's that time of year again. Leaves are falling, serum vials are back in the blood web, and the cheap plastic skeletons in my room are no longer considered out of season. So you know what that means? That's right, it's finally National Holiday Upload My Jump Scare Myers vs. Twitch Streamers Day. And as fun as that's been the past 6,347 times, I wanted to do something a little different this time of year. You know, for a teeny amount of variety. So I sat down and pondered, what could I possibly upload that would genuinely scare my audience? I wanted something so terrifying that it'd instantly send chills down the spine of any regulars of this channel. And after thinking about what brings us here together, I knew exactly what to do. Today we're going to be covering the basics you need to know to counter the unknown. For a fella called the unknown, it's surprisingly easy to understand what to do against them. Just stare at them and do this funny spin anytime they try and hit you with your power. And there you go. Killer countered, GG easy, enjoy your 4-man out. Okay, maybe there's a bit more to it than that, but it is still incredibly simple once you know what to do. The first and most important part of playing versus the unknown is understanding exactly how the UVX works, and most importantly, that it can hit through walls and floors. This means that you need to hold check spots a bit wide and run away from walls when you hear the crackling of sound of the UVX coming out. Also, as a general rule, you should never stay still in vulnerable places unless you absolutely have to. Continuously moving, especially moving erratically, is a great way to throw off an unknown player's prediction. Leaving the loop at an unexpected time is possibly the most reliable counter to the unknown. But then again, what killer isn't countered by leaving early? However, it's worth noting that the unknown is especially weak here, as wide open areas make the UVX near unusable to the average player. Another major counter is letting yourself get hit by the UVX, which I know sounds crazy, but think of it like this, okay? Most survivors are terrified of being weakened, to the point which they'd rather outright lose a health state than to become weakened, which is just absurd, considering it only takes 10 seconds of looking at Jerry to cleanse weakened. So if your options are either get weakened or get injured, get weakened, because at best you can cleanse it and restart the cycle, or at worst case scenario, you've still delayed the injury another 7 seconds. The only time getting weakened is worse than getting injured is if you let yourself get triple tapped, but realistically that shouldn't be happening, as the unknown missing a single shot or hesitating even just a few seconds gives you more than enough time to break out of the weakened state. Now that we've covered the basics of the UVX and how to counter it, what about hallucinations? Get rid of them! You see hallucination, you dispel hallucination. That's it. The only time where you shouldn't dispel a shedling is when you are actively in chase. Even if your aura is being read or you're exposed, you can still safely dispel hallucinations as long as they're in the crumpled up state, which, if you didn't know, means that the unknown's teleport is still on cooldown. Another fun trick with shedlings is that you can bait a teleport by getting near a hallucination, then using the point emote to fake as if you're dispelling. The best part about this is you can do it on the other side of a wall to completely stay safe while trying to bait a killer who's reading your aura. Be warned, this is only probably going to work once or twice per game. And finally, we're going to talk about some common add-ons that give people issues while playing against the unknown, starting with the Fallen King himself, the Vanishing Box. While you probably won't see this add-on much anymore, it's still worth noting that there are two very simple counters to it that can either minimize or completely negate its effects. When working on a generator with multiple people, all except one survivor should let go of the gen right before it's fully repaired. That way, only one survivor becomes weakened. But if that survivor is already weakened, the Vanishing Box will do absolutely nothing, as it can't affect already weakened survivors. So you could possibly edge your reveal to 1% remaining by doing some light gang stalking, then keep it so you can be the designated gen popper. Doing this not only prevents your team from getting weakened for free, but it also makes it a lot harder for the unknown to drop more shedlings, as you're taking away the massive bonus progress the unknown gets anytime a survivor is weakened. Remember that Vanishing Box now almost doubles the amount of time it takes for a hallucination to spawn when this bonus isn't in play, and that most people using the Vanishing Box also pair it with the add-on that gives even more bonus progress when a survivor becomes weakened, meaning you can counter both these add-ons by simply 1%ing your weakened state. Another add-on to know about is iridescent film, which makes all survivors weakened at the beginning of the match. If you find yourself immediately weakened at the start of the trial, do not do gens. For the next 12 seconds, you need to be running around like a headless chicken. Most killers pair this add-on with the perk Lethal Pursuer, which means they know exactly where you are for the first 12 seconds of the match. If you immediately jump on a generator, you're giving them an incredibly free injury on you. The best thing you can do is to find a strong tile in an area with lots of line of sight blockers or vertical cover and stay moving. Do this until you can locate the unknown or see that they've entered a chase with another survivor. At this point, your number one priority should be breaking out of the weakened state from a safe distance. as once all survivors break out of Weakened, the iridescent film add-on does absolutely nothing but hinder the Unknown by reducing their maximum shedding count by 1. And boom, just like that, there's the basics of how to counter the Unknown. There are more advanced things like trying to determine the Unknown's playstyle and aura perks, because let's not kid ourselves, they're running an aura perk, but really that's nothing unique to the Unknown, as you should be doing this against every killer you end up facing. Anyways, with all that said, happy surviving.